Cities that earmark funds for public art programs understand its role in creating a culturally vibrant community. In this segment of Frame, we show you some of Iowa City's public art, but first we meet the person behind the program. Joining me now is Marcia Bollinger from the city of Iowa City. How are you, Marcia?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
What prompted the initiation of this program?
Back in 1997, the city manager at the time was a public art enthusiast and had come from a community that had a pretty aggressive and active program. There was also the downtown pedestrian mall, which is where we're sitting, that was due to be renovated in, I think, 2 years in 1999. And he knew at that point that that would be a really appropriate time to start considering public art and funding such a project so that we could see more public art on the pedestrian mall.
Sure. And how was that received by the powers that be?
Not wholeheartedly embraced. Public art is one of those things that it's always going to be a little bit sensitive in terms of whether or not it's appropriate for public funds to be being put into it. There's always going to be two viewpoints, or 3 or 4.
5 or 6 at some point.
And so it was a bit of a push to get that approval and to set aside annual funding for it. But they were successful, and for 2 or 3 years they received a pretty substantial allocation every year, which funded most of the art you see down here, including the fountain, which is the first public art project. Many of the sculptures that you see, well, all the sculptures that you see downtown received funding within that time period. It really did make a dent in that need for public art.
Well, it's beautiful. I can't imagine walking down here without seeing it. How has the public responded, as well as the business owners, to having the sculptures like we're sitting in front of the jazz piece here?
I think for those folks who you'll see it fresh every day, I always see new faces coming up and looking at it, and particularly children, depending upon the sculpture, to check it out. The businesses, I think, hopefully really appreciate it. It has brought in a number of conferences, the public that want to see what we're doing here in Iowa City. In fact, we've hosted a couple of them because it is pretty fabulous.
Yes.
The Iowa Avenue Literary Walk is another project that was done within that first 3 or 4 years of the program.
Well, it ties so directly into Iowa City's heritage.
Oh, exactly.
That it's so much fun. I find myself walking and looking down and reading and rereading, and it's just such an uplifting experience. Yeah. And of course, the fountain is such a key feature during festivals and other activities down here. It's a great family attraction. So tell us about how the program is managed. I understand it's not just you, but there's a team of people behind it. So will you give us a background on that?
There is a public art advisory committee that's been in place from day one. They have, in fact, they established the bylaws and the code of which they operate, and the essence of the committee is that there are 5 people from the public, 3 of which have to be public art professionals, 2 can be just your average person on the street or interested in art, and then there's 2 staff people, the director of public works and the director of parks and recreation, because those are typically many of the locations are overseen by those 2 staff people. So
excellent.
So they provide input.
And how many pieces are in the program right now throughout the city?
You know, I'm not really sure. We do inventories all the time, but I've never taken a count. I'm going to estimate, in terms of sculptures, permanent sculptures, that we've got probably 12 to 15.
Okay.
We have 3 murals that were produced as part of the program. Iowa Avenue Literary Walk is not necessarily a sculpture because it's all flat and plaques. The North Marketplace Literary Walk, which was just completed last year, and it's something that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
That does have some sculpture to it. We have plenty of opportunities on our public art website for people to learn more about what kind of art pieces we have in various locations, and and as well as this walking tour that was created about 4 or 5 years ago. It's called Glimpse, and it is available on the website as well. It doesn't offer a full view of many of the art pieces. The idea is you just get a glimpse, and then you really need to go out and look at it in person to get a better idea of what the sculpture is all about.
Well, I did this. I pulled this down, and anyone can get this off of the city's website. It's very easy to find. It's a PDF as well, so you can download this, print it out, and take your own walking tour, which is what we did to show you the art that you're going to see during the show. So it's a variety of work, primarily sculptures, a few murals, and then the plaques on the street for the literary walk.
Yep.
Any other works that would be considered for the program,
actually,
or have been?
part of the public art program, and one that we're continuing on with some of the budget cuts we have, is the Poetry in Public program as part of the literary component of art. And that started now 10 years ago. If you're downtown, they're all posted in the downtown kiosks. We've got them in the library, in the recreation centers, and on the buses. So yeah, if you ever see a poem, that's typically a Poetry in Public product. And we get a lot of, the submissions seem to be increasing every year. We get between 400 or 500 submissions from both adults and children, students. And there's a selection committee that chooses 83 of them. That's an odd number, but it's based entirely on how many buses there are, because we have 3 in each bus. and it's been very, very popular. We even have readings of the poetry at Arts Fest. The poets that are chosen, and they really love. They love to read their poetry. There's standing in line waiting to read. So it's fun.
Really dynamic poetry community. I've discovered so many amazing talents recently that
and people you wouldn't even expect. I get submissions from people that I had no clue they wrote poetry. I knew them from another phase of my work or personal life or whatever. And so it's kind of neat.
All right, I'll keep my eyes open for that. And what about the new benches? Because as you know, I'm really craving to paint one of these benches.
Well, I know the one we're sitting on isn't necessarily painted. It looks like it's a I don't know what it is, like a wallpaper.
It's fun.
And it must be working its way up or something. But this project is actually, it's kind of sponsored by the Public Art Advisory Committee, but it's really implemented by the Iowa City Downtown District.
Okay.
They've recently changed their name, and this was more or less their idea. They recruited a lot of the street artists and professional artists and amateur artists that are now participating in this. Public Art Advisory Committee reviews the proposals just to make sure they're well represented and available for all public to see, and that kind of criteria. But I think the more you look around, the more you see just a real diverse inventory of different art styles and themes and applications.
Right. Color, it's a great variety.
Yeah, it's been very popular. We didn't know how it was going to play out because it's a lot of art in a small area, but it seems to be working well.
People love it. I know whenever I'm walking down here, I'm finding which bench is new, and people I know, they comment on them, take photos, upload them to their social media pages, blog about them. So it's a very popular feature, and this is my formal plea to be able to decorate a bench for whomever is in charge of that. But we'll move on from there. What's the future of the public art program?
Well, we're struggling a bit right now. Over the years, we've seen just kind of a gradual cutback in funding, public funds, that is. And I think that's to be expected in any type of economic times that cause you to have to prioritize a little bit more than others.
Sure.
So we are able to maintain some of the low-cost projects, such as the Poetry in Public, because basically that involves a lot of staff time, but paper, basically printing the paper is the hard costs. We are also able to continue some smaller projects. One of them that we're really trying to get kicked off is the Donation Station Art Project. And that involves, there's parking meters that are painted kind of a periwinkle.
Oh, yes.
Or purpley shade that they have in place throughout the Ped Mall to encourage people to donate to the donation station, and then those funds are given to not-for-profit entities. And what we'd like to do is start incorporating art on those. We had one student from West High create a pelican, or toucan, excuse me, out of one of them, which turned out marvelously. Unfortunately, it accidentally got pulled over while it was on display in the library, so it didn't really last very long. But the goal is to get maybe at least 2 or 3 of them on display, and then maybe solicit some of the businesses downtown to sponsor them, or to orchestrate the artwork itself. There's a lot of talented business people or business people who know talented people. We don't care how it's done. We just like to see it done, kind of like the benches.
Sure, and the pianos, of course.
Right, and that's something that was purely orchestrated by private business people downtown.
Right. Which makes it, again, a place you want to come. Anybody can play. It's fun to hear people of all levels to play. It just really creates the overall experience, which I think keeps people here, keeps people coming back, and really paints the picture of the community.
Yeah, it's always something new.
Yes.
Just like the population.
Yes.
It's very diverse and
influx of new energy and yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Any other tips you can give us about public art and how people can get involved and help them further appreciate what this beautiful city has?
Well, one of the things we're talking about budget cutbacks. We've been, the committee's been toying with different ideas in terms of using what little resources we have to encourage further growth, to maybe create some partnerships with some other entities that might be willing to help fund the projects. So, and there's also grant writing. There's a variety of other different resources that we're looking at, because we still like to continue on with the project. One of the more popular projects that we've had in the last 5 or 6 years has been the Neighborhood Art Project. And I don't know if you got a chance to go out and take a look at any of those, but people are familiar with Iowa City. There's the houses that are on top of the street signs in the north side. There's the Geese and the Goosetown neighborhood on top of the street signs. Those are all neighborhood art projects.
Okay.
Actually, Weatherby Park has a very elaborate project. Washington Hills at Pheasant Hill Park has a wonderful mosaic project that I could go on and on about. But those have all been art projects that were developed by the neighborhood residents. They worked with an artist to refine them and then produce them, and they're usually very low cost. So I'd really like to see a little bit more growth that way. We've got a lot of sculpture downtown. We've got quite a bit in different parks, but the neighborhoods, there's still quite a few that are interested in participating in that project.
How can people find out more?
Contact me. Phone number 319-356-5237, or Marcia Bollinger at iowa-city.org.
Okay. And you go to the city's website if you don't catch that and learn more.
Just Google Iowa City Public Art or Bing, whichever you prefer. I search for it.
Yeah, I know. Everybody has their preferences. I appreciate your being available to tell us more about the program and how it works, how people can access it, how they can get involved. Let's definitely continue this program and find creative ways to keep expanding it and to maintain what's already here, because we are very fortunate to have it. So, any parting words? Anything else we need to charge the community up with?
Just keep going out to see it, keep appreciating it, and make it worth the time and the effort that has been put into it, because there's lots of it out there, and it's around every single corner if you look closely enough.
Definitely. Don't just walk by, engage. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into this segment of Frame. Have you ever imagined what type of art you would create if you were given the opportunity to design a piece of public art? Well, in this segment of Frame, we speak with a visual artist who has had that opportunity and privilege. Joining me now is artist Ellie Sitio, who is from South America, but here in Iowa City, gracing us with his presence and his talent. Thank you for joining me on Frame.
Oh, no problem. You're welcome.
So tell us about your art.
Basically, I have two different types of styles I like to explore. First, it's the exploration between the relationship of my wife and I, and that's just like a longitudinal study. Longitudinal is more of an idea based on science, and longitudinal just means a study over a long period of time.
Okay.
So then that's just basically the study of someone's life for a long period of time and how they would change within the canvas. So basically taking a photograph and except I'm painting her and capturing these specific emotions in time. As far as the public art is concerned, I prefer to tackle different social contexts. As far as the one that I did here in Iowa City, I wanted to tackle the idea of people coming together regardless of who we are, regardless of sexual orientation, race, religious belief. The main idea behind the mural is that there's one thing that truly binds everybody, and I believe this regardless of where you live, and that's just the search of happiness. So if you have that main commonality, then why are we considered to be so different? So that's the main idea
behind the mural. And right now we're sitting in the lobby of Hotel Vitro, and behind us is Ellie's mural that he created earlier this year with great acclaim and buzz in the community, and it's just a really beautiful piece of art. You have obviously a very, let's say, intense social conscious, but you're very aware of the connectivity of humanity. How have people responded to this piece?
From my understanding and from some of the people who have stopped me, they really enjoy it. They really appreciate the fact that I'm taking something that's blank and turning it into something that people can look at and try to decipher the meaning behind an image, instead of just looking at something red, and then keep on walking. So
right, just sit down or stand back and study the art and figure out how you as a viewer are connected to it, and from your perspective try to tap into your mind.
Right.
Now, when did this all start, and how did it start?
This all started, it was a partnership between Mark Moen and I had done some other commissions and some other works for him, and he approached me about the whole idea and the whole project, and he said, would you be willing to paint this wall for me? And I said, absolutely. It's an incredible opportunity to do that. So I chose to, it took about 1.5 years to process everything, the designing, the contracts that I had to go through with the city to make sure that everything was approved, and then it went through the Public Art Committee, and they went ahead and approved it, and then it went to vote with the City Council as well. So.
Oh wow, quite the process.
Yes, it was quite the process, yes.
Did you know what type of theme you wanted to move forward with once you and Mark spoke? Initially,
I did a rough draft, and that's what I had initially presented to the Public Art Committee. And I said it was still the same idea, it was just a rough draft, and then after that I evolved it into what it is to be now.
Today.
Yep.
But from a thematic standpoint of helping the community here connect even more as the community continues to grow and there's far more diversity coming into the area and to the quarter overall, I was just wondering from that perspective if that's something that you really tapped into and saw that this would be a great venue to bring that to life.
I thought so too. I really think that murals and public art in general have a really good response in a community. There has been studies have been shown, such as in Arizona, they took a very impoverished area and artists came, or they went there and decided to paint all these murals, and within 1 year it created over 100 jobs. So just within that idea, you could just help people out even without having a direct relationship with the people.
Sure.
So
it really builds.
Yeah.
Phoenix has, the Phoenix area in particular, I don't know if that piece was there, or maybe in Tucson, has a lot of public art, and it's something that I used to live there.
Oh, okay.
And I still go back and forth, but I greatly appreciate more as I travel around. There are a lot of communities who don't have it or don't celebrate it, so I think that's something that is very special to this area. What other parts of the world have you been in that has really incredible public art that's inspired your work?
Chicago, California, LA, Philadelphia, New York City, Florida. There's many places. In Venezuela, there's lots of murals down there. Costa Rica has a lot of murals. Rio de Janeiro in Brazil is, their work is beyond belief amazing. I've never had the opportunity to visit Europe, but their focus on murals is pretty incredible.
Yes. So lots of places, and to bring a little bit of the world right here to our own backyard.
Absolutely.
What do you see future trends are for public art?
In my hope is that this project will actually carry more mural projects or more public art projects. It's not just necessarily about the artists coming out, it's also about providing a sense of work for people who don't have the opportunity to go to museums, who don't have that source readily available. This is just work that's meant for the people without any sort of entrance fee. So.
That's a great way to put it. The show, I started it because I love art, and it's referred to as an outsider artist. I've always been around it, and I realized over time how many people were a little intimidated by art and going into a museum or going into a gallery and not understanding protocols, and so they tend to shy away from engaging with it. So that's a perfect analogy for that. It's a public art museum, and they can choose to engage with the art on their time and for as long as they want, and it's all there for free, which is really great.
Exactly. Yep.
What public art would you like to see come to Iowa City?
I would definitely love to see more murals. I'm a painter at heart. I would love to see more established artists come to Iowa City. I think that Iowa City has a lot to offer. I also believe that Iowa City has a large amount of talent as far as the arts are concerned, whether if it's music, dance, poetry, writing. We have that sort of ability to compete. So I really feel that if more artists came about, I think that opportunity should definitely be taken.
What do we need to do? I think we're going to have to get creative here.
I don't know.
Start engaging public and private sector.
Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe just take baby steps. You know, there are a lot of spaces around here that definitely deserve a piece of work. So
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And as far as your paintings, do you show your paintings in any galleries, or how do you work that side of your business?
I prefer to show my work online, or I occasionally will do some commissions. However, I have not had the opportunity to show in a gallery as of yet, but eventually I would like to. So.
Do you have any words of wisdom for emerging artists who have this type of work as their goal?
Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Even though, for me, one of my most favorite painters is Van Gogh. Being that his line work, his ability to use color was amazing. However, throughout his lifetime, he only sold 2 pieces. And now he's one of the most cherished painters of our time. So I believe that you just can't, you just live to paint for yourself and just keep going. You can't ever let somebody tell you that you can't do something. So.
I agree with you. Yeah. And will you speak to your experience growing up in Venezuela? I love South American culture, and I just am very curious as to the commonalities that you see in the art community wherever they are. So,
as far as commonalities, it's kind of hard to say. Venezuela's architecture is very bright. People's houses people really don't use siding. It's mostly they just paint their houses different colors. It brings a sense of vibrancy and sense of life behind our culture. Our aesthetics are a little bit different. Some of our murals are all tile murals, so they're mosaics. They go from mosaics to frescoes, so it's quite a diverse culture. So
one day I'm gonna visit.
me too, hopefully.
Where should I go? Where should I go first?
Yeah. I would think you should go to Caracas, which is the capital of Venezuela. Then you should go to Maracay, which is where I'm from, and then you should venture to the coast and go to the beaches and enjoy the beautiful scenery. Go to the Amazon, see the beautiful animals out there. So, yeah.
All right, I'm inspired. Well, thank you so much
Oh,
for
no
sharing
problem.
your vision and
No problem.
telling us about the creative process and your work overall.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, my total privilege.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning into this segment of Frame.
What is your public opinion on public art in Iowa City and everything about that?
My public opinion on public art in Iowa City is that it's great. I think this town, honestly, out of all the towns that I've been in, and I've been in almost every city in Iowa, I think this town is one of the greatest, most creative towns that I have ever found. And basically, if I ever wanted to be stuck somewhere, this is it. So I do love the public art. I love the chess pieces right down there that they do. I've been around this town for a long time, and I really do like what they do with it.
Great.
I've actually put a few pieces of art around here myself.
Really?
Back like 10, 12 years ago, I used to graffiti. a
Oh,
little
that's
bit,
cool, yeah.
and I used to draw all the time.
Are any of them still
around? If you ever see that symbol, that's my art.
Okay.
So.
What is your view on public art in Iowa City?
I've only been here a couple days, but I have to say it's really cool. I think it plays a big role in sculpting the city. It plays a big role in expressing what the people are feeling.
Frame is sponsored by Allegra, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,